What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today, I'm here to bring all of you my Pandora Hearts Volume 4 review. And what can I say that this cover is just fucking badass. I am a big fan of Pandora Hearts' covers. Like, when I had a good glance at all those covers that was sent to me last week, it really goes to show you how good the mangaka is when it comes to this series of, like, the covers. Like, the detail to the covers are really beautiful. I mean, seriously, I would love a poster of this cover, or the other covers that I've seen of Pandora Hearts. But anyways, so today, I'm here to cover Volume 4. So if you don't know anything about Pandora Hearts, I'm just going to say right now, I recommend you go watch my first impressions or my Volume 1 review, and then watch my Volume 2 and 3 if you want to see the story. But I will be spoiling Volume 4, so if you don't know about Pandora Hearts, I recommend you to end this video now. So anyways, Volume 4... a lot of setup, a lot of story progression, and some really good meaning to be Rabbit. So we got a lot of progression. Like, I mean, there's a lot of setup here that sets up for probably the end game of the series. So the first things first I want to cover is kind of the start of the volume to where we find out that Alice is experiencing loneliness. Now, we know Alice is lonely because it's been shown time and time again throughout these volumes, and it's nothing relatively new. But in the first half of Volume 4, it really becomes one of the main focuses of this, because as we know with the aftermath of last volume, finding out more about why Oz is like he is, like why he smiles, puts on this mask, and what happened with his father, you know, he has this type of issues with his father or family. And as we know, Alice, she's a chain, but she's a human-looking chain, and she doesn't know anything. Like, she doesn't really know anything. She doesn't know if she has parents or anything, and so she's kind of alone. She's a lonely person. And so, like, when you see it to where Gil and Oz and then their uncle, they're just having fun and they're just chilling, relaxing, and doing arm wrestling. Of course, Alice has fun as well, and she does arm wrestling, but the entire scene was kind of emphasizing the connection that Oz has with Gil and his uncle, and how it shows that Alice is by herself. Even though now you can consider she has Gil, she has Oz, and she does have the uncle, it's still not the same thing. Alice wants to know more about her past, because as we know, one of the main objectives of the series is for Alice to gain back her memories. She wants to get her memories back, which is what we're getting into with this volume, because a memory pops up and we get more information, but I will save that for the later half of this video. So, back onto the loneliness. Alice right now, she's in this, like, entire situation where she doesn't know what to do. Like, I mean, she's lonely, and she doesn't know who she could possibly talk to, which leads into the second half of the volume. Now, the second half, we come to find out more about this cat, and I love how the cat is a reference to Alice in Wonderland. I know Pandora Hearts has, you know, the theme of Alice in Wonderland, but to see more themes to that, like, you know, Mad Hatter, for example, I just truly enjoy that. I've always been a big fan of Alice in Wonderland, like, you know, the themes and stuff. And if you do not know, Alice in Wonderland is kind of a dark story. So if you put that in perspective and you attach it onto Pandora Hearts, it allows you to realize that this series might be very dark in the future, which it is building up towards that. Because one of the biggest mysteries about this right now is that something happened 100 years ago, because that was one of the main topics of the volume. Something happened 100 years ago to where an entire town was dragged down into the abyss. The thing is that if it wasn't stopped at that time 100 years in the past, thanks to Jack and them, the entire country might have been dragged down into the abyss. Now, we've already seen what the abyss looks like. If we go back to Volume 1, we already know what it looks like. It's like a void that you don't really want to be in. So you can consider it hell. It's like nothingness, and it has weird dolls, creatures, and chains in it, and it's just some place you would never want to be. And so, to figure out that, like, an entire town or city was dragged into the abyss, it makes you question, why? Why was it done? What was the motive? Like, why did that happen? And why were they trying to possibly drag an entire country into the abyss? Unless this is some form of sacrifice ritual that's kind of like similar to Fullmetal Alchemist, I could see something like that, but I highly doubt the story is going to go that path. So the question is, why? We need to know the real motive. Why? Now, we do know that the Baskervilles and Pandora want to gain the attention of the Abyss. That has been a main discussion point since, like, I think Volume 2. So we know this is nothing new here. We do know the Baskervilles and Pandora want the intention of the Abyss. The question is what exactly is it? Because we do know the intention of the Abyss is very similar to Alice in relative the way it looks from what we saw from Volume 1. So the question is the intention of the Abyss, is it a memory? Is it a memory fragment of Alice? Because we do know that Alice's memories can make a room or a dimension, which brings up the theory, what if Alice made the dimension or the Abyss? That is what I'm wondering right now. Now, I don't know. I could be completely wrong because my memory is fading right now for the rest of the anime. But what if Alice was the cause of the Abyss even being made? And the intention of the Abyss is like some form of mindset that Alice was in the past, and then now it's doing what it's doing. Who knows? But the next point of discussion, since we do know that her memory fragments can make dimensions, since we saw an example in majority of this volume with Mad Hatter being sucked into a different dimension, Jack, Mystery Round Jack, which I'm about to get into, and then also how the cat's protecting Alice's memories, many questions are right now, like popping up right now, because you're wondering, why did Alice want to erase her memories? What was the main reason for this? Now, you can assume that she went through some tragic bullshit, like some major shit to where she wanted to just remove it. She's like, I'm done with this. Or what if she was trying to protect something? What if she wanted to protect something and it was so dear that she didn't want anyone to find out? That could be a possibility. But another thing is who is Jack and what connection does he have with Alice? Because Jack, if you did not realize, which I think manga readers are probably ahead of me know, if you did not realize, Jack has the same last name as Oz, our main character. Now, here's the funny thing. Since they have the same last name, is Jack the grandpa, like the grandpa of Oz? Or what if Jack is like in some way maybe the father? Some way the father of Oz. I mean, we do know the father's still alive, but I mean, what if? Like, just what if, in some way or form, because he says that he is a fragment of his soul, like, of Jack. So, for him to be a fragment of his soul, what if, like, his soul is split off into so many different locations, that's where Alice's memories are, and he's trying to lead Oz and them down the proper path? That could be what's going on here, because for Jack to be helping out Oz and Gil, and he's like, trying to help him out for the dimension, he's like, I can't do nothing in that type of dimension, like, I can't go that far in, you're the only one that can do it. There's many mysteries popping up, like, what is Jack's role here? What is he trying to do? And I mean, if Alice was so key, like, determined to remove her memories, why is Jack helping them get her memories back? That's another thing we need to think about. So many questions right now with this volume, but also moving past that point, let's get into how the cat got turned into a chain. That's weird. That's very fucking weird, because a regular cat, we get examples in a flashback, a couple of flashbacks in this volume, that the cat was, at one point in time, just a regular solid black cat, but then turned into a chain, and could speak. It kind of has a humanoid form. So, the Abyss changed a regular cat into a chain. So, is it possible a human, a regular human, let's use Oz for an example, can Oz turn into a chain? Is that possible? Because we do know the intention of the Abyss is like a womb. It makes more chains and stuff. So, what if chains were made from humans? What if, you know, all the chains we see are previously humans? From that town that got sunk down underground. That's just me theory crafting right now. Moving past that, though, also, another thing to consider is Mad Hatter. So we get some hints at Brake's past. Now, he's a big mystery when it comes to him as a character, because he's one of those characters that seem to be very secretive. He doesn't want to reveal his entire hand. He has this dark past that he's holding on to. We know he's lost his eye. We do know his time is running short because death flags have been set up since Volume 1. So, there's a lot of mystery, but we do know some information about him. The question is exactly, what is this Mad Hatter? We know it's a chain, of course, that's the obvious, but what is it? Where did he get it? How did he get it? What can it do? And, I mean, for him to be Mad Hatter, is he crazy? Because when I think of Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland, I think of a crazy lunatic that's just off his fucking rockers. She's like, whoa, Mad Hatter, you know, doing teacup party and shit. And it explains a lot, actually, because, you know, Brake, he loves tea parties and shit. Like, he drinks tea and stuff, so that explains quite a bit. I like that. I like that Alice in Wonderland reference. Good job, Manga. But another thing, too, we do know Sharon, hopefully I'm saying her name right, she But she reveals the power of her chain as well. Her chain can connect to someone else's shadow. So, for an example, we have it to where she had her chain connected to Break's shadow, and that made it to where Oz and Gil and them could use that chain and go into that dimension that nobody normally could enter. So her chain could connect to other shadows and enter dimensions. So this explains how maybe Charlotte was able to probably get to the Abyss, or how they were going to get to the Abyss in the near future. Maybe connect to, you know, a shadow of Gil or something and go to the Abyss. That is probably where that was going, with Charlotte revealing that trump card with connecting to a shadow and being able to, like, teleport. Now, we also do know that Echo, I think it's Echo, it could be someone else, but judging by the attire and the way it looked like Echo was about to attack Charon in the middle of the volume. So I hope that doesn't lead into anywhere bad, because we do know that she, like, disappears from contact or whatever, so I hope she's not injured or getting brainwashed in some way, because we do know Vincent's kind of shady right now. So yeah, Volume 4 of Pandora Hearts, pretty damn good. A good and beautiful volume to set up the future. A lot of theories I have right now. It sets up the attention of the Abyss to something happened 100 years ago where Jack is a part of that. So is Alice. She's connected to that. And we do know that something's going on with Sean with Echo, and also all the reveals to the different chains. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about this volume? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please be safe. Chibi out.